So even though they did not figure out how this image was put onto the cloth, they still found out a lot of information about the shroud. In fact, everything that they found out kind of seemed to imply that this really could be the shroud of Jesus Christ. And so now what I want to do is go through some of the crazy things that they found as they were researching and studying this shroud. All right, now I want to talk about some of the things that they found when they were studying the actual image of the body on the shroud. Okay, so this is an artist rendition of the body that we see on the shroud. So you can see on the left-hand side is the actual shroud, and on the right-hand side is the back image that is on the shroud. And so in the middle, we have this artist rendition. And so this shows the position of the body. It shows all of the markings on the body, the wounds, and the blood of the body. So we see on this body that this was an image of a man who was definitely crucified. So we see the wound marks in the wrists and on the feet. So this is another interesting thing, because usually when you see a painting or a depiction of Jesus on the cross, the nails are going through the palm of the hand, correct? But actually, Roman crucifixion practices, they nailed through the wrist. And now the reason for that discrepancy is because the Greek word for palm and the Greek word for wrist are the same. And so that is why throughout history, people have thought that the nail actually went through the palm. But the Romans crucified by putting nails through the wrist. And the reason they did that was because the bones in the hand would not be strong enough to hold the weight of the body, and so it would rip. And so very, very painful. I can't even imagine. The nails would actually go right through here. And another interesting thing is that there is a nerve in here that if it is pierced, it causes the thumb to go inward. So if you notice on the shroud image, you cannot see the thumbs, and that's because the thumbs had gone inward like this, and so they are against the palms. So just another thing that somebody doing, if this were a forgery, they probably would have put those wounds right through the palms, and they wouldn't have known about the thumbs. Okay. There is also a wound in the side, which correlates to what we hear in the scripture that after Jesus died, one of the Roman soldiers pierced him with his sword. Not his sword, his spear. I'm trying to think of the word. Okay, so we see the wound on the right side of the body there. So all of this correlates. So, and then we see all of the marks on the legs and on the back, on the shoulders. So these are the marks from when he was whipped, when he was scourged. Now, Jesus would have been scourged with something that looks like this. This is the Roman whip that was used at the time. It is called a flagrum. And it is a particularly horrible torture device. So they had 3 of these leather thongs that you can see there. And then at the end of each of the leather strips, there were these 2 metal balls. And you can't tell in this picture, but they had sharp little metal spikes on these balls. So not only would it hurt when it first hit the body, but then when it was flicked backward, it would rip the skin away. So this was it would be a horrible, terrible, painful way that they tortured Jesus. So, and very interestingly, there are 120 marks. You can see every single mark on the body that is on the shroud from the scourging that he received from one of these. And I'm going to show you a video in a few minutes that will show you this is crazy, because you can see, if you have a life-size image of the image of the body on the shroud, that there are markings. The scourge markings match the 2 little balls on the ends of every single of these leather strips. You can put these little balls, and you'll see in this video, right on the image, and it matches exactly. It's crazy. It is just crazy. And so every single time that the soldier would have hit the body of Jesus with this, it would have left 3 marks. 3 marks. And on this body that we see in the shroud, there are 120 marks from the lashes. Okay, so every time you have 3, that makes it 40 lashes. And if you know about the history of that time period, normally they would only give somebody 39 lashes because it was thought that 40 lashes was enough to kill a man. That's how terrible it was to be scourged with these. So evidently, if this really is Jesus, he received 40 lashes for us. Just terrible.